Hey, what's up guys, Monster Faster, and welcome back to another RPG Maker tutorial. Today we're going to be doing Dark Harvest from League of Legends, and, well, needless to say, it's a pretty interesting one, because every time you hit an enemy under 50% of their health, you'll be doing a bit of damage, though it does scale with many different properties or stats, and that part might get a little bit complicated. So with that said, I believe we can start the tutorial. Alright, going into the plugins, well, we only need two. Technically one, but all determines on how you're going to be establishing or adding a state. We have Bubble States Core, which is going to be primarily our used plugin here for multiple reasons, actually. We also have Auto Passive States. Dark Harvest is an effect where you do want the, well, at least one of the states in itself to be active at all times. Just like in how in League of Legends you would just... The rune itself will be in effect all the time, but the effect would only be activated occasionally, which is what we're going to be doing today. Other than that, tips and tricks for this tutorial include Bubble Wrap and Siphoning Strike. Bubble Wrap mostly because of the cooldown, though it's mostly also just taken from a previous tutorial as a base. Siphoning Strike is mostly to check if the target has fallen from the effect of the skill, which is important. So let's go on to the first half of the state creating. Alright, let's do this. Going to our database here, just forgive me for a second because I just booted up RPG Maker. I will explain later. But going on all the way down here to Dark Harvest. Now, Dark Harvest will be having an icon because, well, you actually do want to see this one because it'll be containing however many stacks of Dark Harvest, but I'll explain what that is in just a moment. Yeah. So basically Dark Harvest is going to be a state where every time you hit an enemy under 50% health, as long as the effect is active, you'll be getting one soul, and that soul, or however many souls you have, will be adding to the damage overall, among other things. But anyways, starting off with just counter state in general, we're going to be starting off with Custom Battle Effect. Oh, also nothing really special going on in this middle area here. Custom Battle Effect, mostly because we're adding it through a passive state. You can do other effects depending on how you establish a state. Setting a variable for harvest equaling to 64. I'm not exactly sure if you necessarily need this. I just know that Bubble Wrap had this sort of deal where the variable for the counter, or the effect itself, was set, but I'm not necessarily exactly sure if you require it, at least. Anyways, we're going to be adding to the user the state of, well, what we just established, which is harvest. So user.addState harvest. Then we're going to be setting the Dark Harvest counter to 0 using Bubble States Core. Well, typically we're using it throughout this tutorial, actually. User.setStateCounter, state ID, which is the state itself. We're going to be setting that to 0. We're also going to be setting Dark Harvest cooldown to 0 using this kind of a fake state counter. I don't know the exact details, but it has proven to be very helpful. So user._harvest cooldown, we'll be setting that equal to 0. That'll be it for Custom Battle Effect. Going to Custom Regenerate Effect, because we do want this cooldown to slowly produce every turn. So user._harvest cooldown is equal to user._harvest cooldown or 0. I do not necessarily understand what this part means, but it is important for cooldown stuff. I still have trouble figuring it out, but you know, it is definitely important, I'm sure. Now we're going to be checking if the cooldown is above 0. So if the user._harvest cooldown is greater than 0, we're decreasing the cooldown by 1. By, well, just subtracting what we just talked about, -1. Because I'm going to be saying this a lot if I just keep saying it every time, and that's going to be tiring very fast. Now we're going to be checking if the cooldown has reached 0 or less. Usually it's just going to be 0, but there may be, for some reason, any method that sets it to, like, say, -1 or such. If that happens, then, well, we have less than to help with that. But if it happens to be less than or equal to 0, we're going to be getting the harvest state, or the state ID for the Dark Harvest effect, which is 64 as well, again. It's actually, well, no, that's actually later on. Then we're going to be playing an animation, which is the Absorb animation, which is 58. Then we're adding the states for a harvest, again, because, well, the cooldown has refreshed. This initial one up here is just to add the effect immediately at the start of battle. This one, of course, as I just said, is just resetting the cooldown when the cooldown resets to 0. However, we're gonna be going on to a different thing where, so there's a thing with Dark Harvest where if you happen to get a kill, well, in this case we're converting it into a kill. If you happen to get a kill and the Dark Harvest effect is on cooldown, we're gonna be resetting the cooldown all the way so that we get the effect right away back to us. There is a delay in League of Legends, but that's mostly because I think something like otherwise it might occur like during the damage or during the killing of that enemy. So I guess they didn't want that to simultaneously happen. I don't know. I don't really know the logistics of that or the specifics of that. I'm not the developer there. But in this case, we're just going to be resetting the cooldown entirely. So, we're going to be starting with a custom confirm effect. First, we're going to be getting the target's current life state. So, if this is an attack, target._life state equals target.hp greater than 0. I don't necessarily know what it means, but I'm guessing it's just something like, oh, we're going to be checking how, or if the target has more than 0 HP. Something along those lines, according to this. Though I, again, I'm not sure about the specifics, and that's why I use Siphoning Strike to help me out. But that's pretty much it for custom confirm effect. Now we go to the custom establish effect, because if this is an attack, well, we're going to be checking if we're going to be checking the target's life state and if the target's HP is less than or equal to 0. Because if it is, and well, at that point they'd be dead, we're going to be setting the user's harvest cooldown equal to 0. Then we're getting the states for variable harvest again. It's actually the same thing as well as before. It's just putting it so when we get a kill, it does the exact same thing. But at the end here, however, we also have to reset the life state check. So target._life state equals undefined. And that'll be it for custom establish effect. And now we can finally get onto the Dark Harvest effect itself. Get ready for a whole lot of math. Going on to the Dark Harvest effect. Oh boy. Damaging an enemy with less than 50% of max HP, as stated earlier, deals damage and grants 1 soul. For the purposes of this, we'll be setting the cooldown to 3. Pretty sure I mentioned it, but actually no. 3 is what we use. Oh no, 3 is what we established here. Never mind. I thought it was established in the first state. It's not. It's actually established here. It has a 3-turn cooldown for our state in particular, and cooldown reset upon a kill, which is what we covered in the previous state. However, damage for the skill consists of many factors. Let me just say, all tested by the way, so you don't have to worry too much about that as long as you're following this. Oh boy, 20 to 60 level base damage, so based on your level. Plus 5 per soul, so you get a soul from dealing 50%. If the enemy has 50% or less HP, you can damage them as long as the effect is active, which is this effect right here. Plus 20% attack, it's bonus attack in League of Legends, which is mostly applied to your weapon and items and such. I said weapons both times, dang it. It's items and such. 50% and 50% of their magic or ability power in League of Legends. As of data damage, which is determined by whichever of the user's attack stats are higher. You're going to be seeing how we do that later on, but I'll explain that when we get to it. The only thing to note for the state in particular is that we want to be removed at battle end because it's an effect that's temporary. Notes here. Here's how I calculated the level base damage. Or level based. Yeah, the level based damage. You're going to be adjusting this, however, based on however many levels you want your characters to have. So if it's 99, you can just do what I have here and divide it by 98 here. 98 because 99 minus 1 is 98. I guess it's kind of obvious, but if you're using something like max level 30, you want to divide by 29 here. And you do want to remember this number later on. Well, you want to remember most of these numbers in general, I guess. Going to custom confirm effect, which is our main. Yeah, actually, it's our main script part here. So first we're going to check if this attack damages and if the target has less than 50% of max HP. So if this is an HP effect and the value is greater than 0, so if the damage is greater than 0, if it's 0 damage, we don't need to check any of these, right? And the target's HP rate is less than 0.5, so it'll be automatically checking current HP divided by max HP, which is very helpful. I wish I knew that earlier, or way earlier, I mean. But yes, this is a very helpful one. So target.hp rates, open, close parentheses, is less than 0.5. We're going to be calculating 20 and 60 damage based on level, which is what we what I showed here, but I'm going to be explaining it specifically here. So we're taking the user's level, multiplied by 0.42 because that's how many. That's 41 divided by 98 about. Then we'll be adding 19 because it's a base 20. So if you're at level 1, it'll be about 20 damage. But actually, I might have got something wrong here. Not sure. This is the only one I'm not exactly sure, but it should be about 20. It'll round up. It's ceiling, so it should be fine. Yeah. Variable damage equals max ceiling. Well, what I just said. We're going to calculate 5 per soul. So variable damage will equal 5 times user.get state counter at 63. So however many counters this the previous state had. Multiply by 5 and add it to our damage. Next one is calculating based on 25% attack and 15% of magic. So variable damage, again, equals, oh boy, max.ceiling of user.attack divided by 4. So 20% of attack and round it up. And also adding max.ceiling user.magic attack times 0.15, rounding it up as well. And of course, adding it to our damage. Now, here's where we get to the adaptive damage part. If the user's attack is greater than the user's magic, you can put it as greater or greater or equal. Depends on how you want to split up attack or magic being higher or lower, or of course, what we're talking about here, equal. Because there is definitely the possibility that they could be equal. So variable damage will be set to, or will be equal to damage minus target defense if the attack is higher. Otherwise, we're setting it so it's subtracting by magic defense if the magic is low or less than or equal. I mean, greater if the magic is greater than or equal. I read it wrong. However, since we're subtracting, it's best to check if the damage falls below 0. Otherwise, it'll heal instead, which we don't want to happen since it's an enemy that's being attacked. So if the damage is less than 0, well, we're setting variable damage equals 0. Not really too difficult there. Then we're going to add a soul. We're going to be adding a soul to the user. User.add state counter 63, 1. We're going to play an animation. Target.start animation 67, which is fire 1, 2, which is confusing when you say it out loud, but if you know how the animations are titled, it's a second variant of the single fire animation. Then we'll be dealing damage to targets. Target.gain HP minus damage. Because if it's positive, they're actually going to be gaining HP and healing, which, well, again, we don't want that to happen because it's an enemy. And target.start damage pop-up. Then we're going to remove the effect and put it on cooldown. So we're going to be having the user remove state of state ID, which is 64 because it's this state itself. That'll be a custom confirm effect, but our final thing here is custom remove effect, which happens when this effect or this state is removed from the user, which is going to be used, or it's going to be removed through this, of course. Or this, but that's not really important because that's out of battle. Custom remove effect. Set a dark harvest CD to 3 turns, which is just user._harvest cooldown equal to 3. And this is how we determine our cooldown. Otherwise, yeah, I believe that is all, so I will see you guys at the demonstration. Alright, here we are at the demonstration, and as you can see, we have a Runefire here. He has a cloak icon with the 0, indicating how many stacks of Dark Harvest we have. We also have a skull icon indicating Dark Harvest effect is active. First, we're going to be checking what happens if you're attacking an enemy with over 50% of their max HP. Protect is rogue right here. Case in point, not case in point, just a preface, on the second turn they'll be losing 500 HP. So we're doing 50 damage right here. And it just lost 500 HP. So this one had less than 50% of max HP, but this one doesn't. So what happens when we hit this one? Nothing happens. Whether you want to change that or not, go right ahead. It's a very simple change. I think you just have to do an equal, so I believe it's the 0.5 area. If you want to change it to equals, go right ahead. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we're leaving it with whatever it was before. So let's attack one of these rogues now, because they do happen to have less than 50% max HP. Look at that. 28 extra damage. Let's do that one more time. It's not gonna do anything because we don't have the effect up, but well, it just came back. Let me explain something else. We did set it 3 turns, but what I actually mean and what I forgot to mention is that it's effectively 2 turns because of how RPG Maker works. It counts the turn that you're using it as 1 turn, because there's a possibility that certain actions can happen after your action has been taken, but sometimes that obviously doesn't happen because well, you may, if you're the slowest party member, then things can't really happen after you. If you're the slowest battle member in the battle, it's hard to explain, but basically it's effectively 2 turns. So if you want to raise that to 4, I'd say 3 to 4 is the range you want to go for here. So now that it's back, let's attack this rogue one more time. Ooh. It did slightly... Oh, it did slightly more damage because we had 1 Dark Harvest state. So it did 5 more damage. We're gonna attack a few more times. Unfortunately, if we attacked right now, it would defeat this lady. So we're gonna do it on this rogue here. We're just gonna proc it, and as you can see, our effect is gone. But now we can actually defeat this rogue, because as you'll see on the bottom, it hasn't been the time to reset the cooldown yet, but if we do happen to kill this rogue, our effect is reset. And I can confirm that the cooldown works as proper, even if you reset the cooldown like this, through killing an enemy. So with that said, I believe we're finished, so I will see you at the outro. Hey y'all. Thank you so much for watching this very interesting tutorial. Just gonna preface this right now. There will probably be another tutorial eventually during this month. I do have an idea because I watched a long playthrough of a particular... Yeah, it's an RPG. Yeah, it's an RPG. And well, you'll see exactly what that game is. Besides that, I had to re-record this because my audio editing for this for the first recording, it wasn't the recording that was bad, it was the editing that I did, and I didn't take mind to it. I didn't playtest it, and it sounds like, let's just say, noise reduction on your own voice twice is not good because it makes it sound like you're underwater, which you don't want to happen in recordings usually. Yeah. That'll be all for today. I'll probably preface the next tutorial with a Let's Make as well. Recreate it, I'm not sure when they're coming back. I actually originally said that it would probably come back this month. Of course, I don't do just RPG Maker videos anymore on the weekends, so we'll see how that works out. Yeah. So I will see you guys next time. So, see you guys and stay safe. Bye-bye.